Hey everybody, it's Pastor Pam. I have a Bible story to share with you, and yes, this is going to be a Lenten edition of Weird Bible Stories with Pastor Pam. Have you ever heard the expression caught between a rock and a hard place? It's often used when people have to make a difficult decision. Well, I have my rock with me again, and looking at it this week made me think of that phrase and of this story in which a town of people find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. Let's listen to the story now. Jesus and his disciples had arrived in the country of the Gerasenes. It was opposite the lake from Galilee where Jesus did a lot of his ministry. When he got there, he stepped out of the boat, and a man of the city who had demons met him. For a long time, that man had worn no clothes, and he didn't live in a house, but rather in the tombs. He made his home among the dead. When he saw Jesus, he fell down before him and shouted, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me." And he said this, for Jesus had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man. The man had been kept under lock and key, bound with chains and shackles and guarded. But he would break out of those bindings occasionally, and when that happened, he would be driven out into the wilderness. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" And the demon replied, "I am Legion, for we are many." Many demons had entered into this man, and they begged Jesus not to order them to go back into the abyss. Now on the hillside, there was a large herd of pigs feeding, and the demons begged Jesus to let them go into the pigs. So Jesus gave them permission to do that. And so the demons came out of the man and they entered the pigs, and then the herd rushed down a steep hill and into the lake where they drowned. When the swineherds saw what had happened, they were not very pleased, and they ran off and told the city and the folks in the country. The people came out to see what had happened, and when they got there, the man who had been possessed by demons was sitting at the feet of Jesus. He was clothed and in his right mind. And the people, well, they were afraid. Those who had seen it told about how the one who had been possessed had been freed of demons and healed. And then all of the people in the surrounding country asked Jesus to leave. They were so afraid that they couldn't get Jesus out of there fast enough. The man who had been healed wanted to go with Jesus, but Jesus told him no. Go back to your home and tell people what God has done for you today. And so he did just that. He went away proclaiming throughout the city how much Jesus had done for him. These people were stuck between a rock and a hard place. There are very real difficulties that they were going through. Sure, it was good, it was great that this man had been healed, but they didn't understand. And things that we don't understand make us afraid. They interrupt our relatively orderly lives. And even if it's for someone else's good, it can frighten us. How can this be? What can it be? Where does the power come from? What if that power turns against me? What does the power want? All good questions, and they're the kinds of questions that make science fiction movies fascinating and scary. And they're all the same questions that were being asked by the townsfolk here. And add to that the fear that their economy has just been destroyed by the loss of their pigs. You can almost start to understand why they ran Jesus out of town. These people were stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I wonder where we are stuck like that in our lives, where we are stuck between fear of the unknown and our comfortableness, but knowing that something just isn't quite right with the norm. I'm sure we all have places like that in our lives. And this week, I encourage you to think about those places and pray about those places and invite Jesus into those places with you. With Jesus' help, you can start to make your way out of the space between that rock and hard place. Amen.